Patriotism has hit an all-time record low, and it's from exactly the place you would think so. Coming up. JetBlue hits a drone. Oof. And we did not get to this story yesterday, and I'm dying to because it's fascinating. We'll try it again. New 6G AI glasses may be changing the way we do things in a big way, not necessarily for the better. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. That's me. Happy Tuesday. We got another day to go in the week, another day to tick off the calendar. All that and more coming up. We are live on YouTube and we are live on Rumble. Both channels, both places carry our show live, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Please, if you're just finding us and you haven't done it already, hit the follow or subscribe buttons. It's free, and it just lets the algorithm know that you are you're following the show, and hopefully other people will enjoy it and find out about it too. All right, so shall we jump right in? This is not good news, to say the least. 14%, only 14% of Democrats are extremely proud to be Americans. My first gut reaction was, then get the fuck out. 14%. Of course, we're talking about Democrats here, so there you go. But we have this Saturday an anniversary coming up, which is something to be proud of. America's 250th anniversary of this experiment approaching. And yet, here we go, 14% of Democrats describe themselves as extremely proud to be an American, according to a new Gallup poll. National pride has hit a new low. After the September 11th attacks, national pride was at a high. Through 2004, 65 to 70% of the poll respondents felt extremely proud, according to Gallup and the data at the time. 65 to 70%, that is huge. And yet, every single year since 2018, less than half the respondents reported extreme pride. And Gallup's not the only one. Other polls have shown this data highlights a huge gap, partisan gap, when it comes to national pride. This year, 56-point gap between Republicans and Democrats. 70% of Republicans, 14% of Democrats. Democrats and the propaganda press seem to be intent on pumping gasoline on the fire of national pride. Corporate media's response to the United States men's national soccer team doing very well in the beginning rounds of the World Cup. Some Seattle soccer fans have mixed feelings about patriotically backing the U.S. team during the FIFA Men's World Cup, given the actions of President Trump. Here we freaking go again with this Trump bullshit. Get over it. You enjoy getting up every morning and being absolutely freaking miserable because of this guy? Seriously, you're gonna let this derangement syndrome control your life? You're an adult. Act like it. Another display of left-wing driven bullshit. At least 2 Democrats-run states decided not to have booths at the Great American State Fair. The last time I heard, it was 10. Lots citing financial reasons. Oh, yeah, sure. Massachusetts, this idiot Governor Healy, attacking Trump, asked why her state wasn't taking part, said the president's trying to get money into his own pocket. In what world do you actually think that Donald Trump needs a little extra money from a great American state fair? Seriously? You really believe that? By the way, there is no cost for a state to take part in the Great American State Fair, just so as you know. West Virginia's exhibit featured karaoke and a car racing game. Other states like Ohio handed out free candy and stickers to visitors. Even territories like Guam, Puerto Rico, they put up elaborate booths at the state fair celebrating their culture and their history. They're not even states. And they did a better job than a whole lot of other ones. Embarrassing. Meanwhile, the booths for the non-participating states, designed exactly the same way, a canvas with the state's name and a couple of standard seating options. Patriotism was not always partisan, but in the 2001 Gallup poll, 64% of Republicans and 54% of Democrats felt in the most patriotic group. Republicans have maintained these higher levels since Gallup began doing this survey, and the catastrophic decline in the patriotism of the Democratic Party is fairly recent. Women and minorities, by the way, demographics more likely to vote for Democrats, also reported huge low rates of national pride when you compare it to men and white adults who reported enormously bigger national pride. It is no surprise given the world they choose to live in. And make no mistake, they choose to live in that world. They choose to act like children. So you know what? Good. Fester in it. I hope you're loving your life. We are. We're enjoying every minute of it. You just sit there and be a dick. Huh? Go ahead. Go ahead. Marilyn, good morning. Praise the Lord. Great to have you along for the ride. Torches the Senate Save Act holdouts. Having trouble with my English this morning. No more excuses. Trump has had it. Supreme Court yesterday ruled that ballots postmarked on or before Election Day, but received after, can be counted by states. What the hell, SCOTUS? Come on. Election day is now a complete misnomer. It is no longer a day because voting and counting can go on for weeks, just like California does. You want that across the country? You're going to get it. This is a ridiculous ruling. Pivotal ruling on the fate of states that collect and count mail-in ballots after Election Day has been issued. It was a 5-4 decision on Watson v. RNC. SCOTUS held that federal Election Day statutes do not prohibit states from counting ballots postmarked by Election Day, but received afterwards under state law. Trump got right on it. He did not hesitate, quickly responded, said this ruling makes the Save America Act, which requires voters to prove proof of U.S. citizenship when they register to vote and show ID when they're actually voting. Well, now, given this ridiculous SCOTUS ruling, It is more important than ever. The integrity of our elections in this country are at stake, folks, and that's not hyperbole. Trump ramps up pressure on the Senate to pass the Save America Act. 47 even calls out the Rhino holdouts by name: Tillis, Murkowski, Collins, Cassidy, McConnell. He doesn't even know what planet he's living on. Give me a break, McConnell. No more excuses, Trump says. There is only one reason to oppose, and that is cheating. Hello, Danny. Good morning. Many versions of the SAVE Act have passed the House 3 times. It's stuck in the Senate, where Majority Leader John Thune maintains he doesn't have enough votes to pass it or, critically, get rid of the filibuster. Trump said the SCOTUS ruling is a huge loss. The answer is to get rid of most of the mail-in voting altogether. One reason only, that lefties oppose voter ID because they want to game the system. Democratic socialist folks have been threatening this American values for centuries now. It is more important than ever that we safeguard our elections. We've got to, or we're not going to have a country. 83% of Americans agree that providing an ID in order to vote should be a requirement. 83%. And the Senate can't get it passed. You people are there to represent us, and that includes the 83%. Get your act together, Senate. You are there on our behalf. You work for us, and that includes that 83%. Damn it. One of these days. Did you see Missy Woods plead guilty? Man. I got to stop putting all these stories up towards the front of the show because I get a headache and then I start to get agita. You know what agita is if you're Italian? I'm not Italian, but I get agita. A former CBI scientist by the name of Mary Woods has pled guilty in Colorado DNA evidence scandal, and this is about as bad as it gets. She worked for the CBI, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, for 29 years, and she now faces 16 years in prison. Former state forensic scientist Yvonne Missy Woods pled guilty yesterday to 4 felonies and could face up to 16 years in prison, bringing her prosecution to a close after a years-long scandal that cast all kinds of doubt on DNA evidence in more than 1,000 criminal cases. More than 1,000. This moron spent 29 years analyzing DNA evidence for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Testified in some of the state's most high-profile criminal trials, pleaded guilty to cybercrime, perjury, forgery, and attempted to influence a public servant. In exchange, prosecutors dropped the remaining 100 charges against her. 100 charges they had to drop as part of a plea deal. Hello, Karen. Great to have you along. This disgraced scientist, and disgraced is not strong enough of a word, is now facing 8 to 16 years in prison. 58 separate instances of alleged criminal misconduct committed between 2008 and 2023, in which she worked at 2 lab locations in Jefferson County, and among them were more than 30 sexual assault cases in which Woods allegedly deleted specific values in samples and submitted reports to agencies that said no male DNA found, when in fact a small amount of male DNA was present in these cases, or possibly contamination, which would have required additional troubleshooting, retesting. Some 24 law enforcement agencies across Colorado got fraudulent reports from this woman. Criminal investigations into Woods began back in 2023 in November by the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation. CBI requested it. It was a rush batch. Woods said the discrepancies in the work partly the result of haste. I was trying to get data out, and that's how it happened. Yeah, sure. She said she didn't have a good reason as to why she manipulated the data. Really? There are people right now serving time in prison who were convicted on DNA data that this woman manipulated. How many? They may never sort it out. And there are, in fact, cases where a perpetrator could have been identified, but they never will be. And they will have gotten away with sexual assaults, rape, murders, who knows what, because of this woman. She is directly responsible for either these innocent people being behind bars or guilty people absolutely going free. Man. You want to talk about a crime? There's a crime for you. Insane. It's time once again to tell you about that. No, not the custom J. Sheldon Show mug. Blackout coffee, of course. Look at that. 250 years of freedom and the 4th of July sale, 17.76% off site-wide. Everything on the site, 17.76% off, celebrating America's freedom. Roasted right here in the U.S., fast and reliable, fueled by strength. These folks mean business when it comes to making coffee, and they make the best coffee you have ever tried, I promise you. Try a single bag. Head over to the site. The link is in our description. Use that link and use the code J20, Jay20. That will get you 20% off your first order. And of course, they've got all kinds of flavored coffees, coffee pods, instant, cold brewed. It's all available there. They're an American company. They work with American farmers and local co-ops. If you want, sign up with their coffee club. It's a great idea. You will never run out of coffee again, and you can pause anytime you like. You get member pricing, free shipping. It's fantastic. Low as $14.50 a bag. Absolutely excellent. Look at that. You can shop by collection. All these huge thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. And of course, they help to support our military, sending them coffee, which is fantastic. All right. Blackout Coffee, the best coffee on the planet. You got to check them out. John Santos and the gang over there. We love what you guys do, and we love that you're a part of this program. Thank you for helping to sponsor the show. We appreciate it. All right. What has Karen got going on? Oh, no, it's Danny. Jay, I'm so upset. I sent out 2 bags of Almond Joys to you back in February. Oh, my God. Really? You did? They lost my package, and I just got the email. They failed to find it. Watch your email because I'll email you the info to see if it made it to Malaysia. They said it may have, and you can check, but I tried to track it for a couple of months now. What a shame. I was hoping to surprise you as Amazon won't deliver there. Oh, man. You are simply the best. What a great friend. Thank you, Karen. You know what? The thought that counts. Would love to have a couple of bags of Almond Joys, but Almond Joys and Mounds, you can't get them here. They're my favorites of all. That was so sweet. I don't know. Maybe they'll just suddenly, miraculously show up. The mail system here, a wee bit behind the times, should we say? But wow, what a great surprise. Thank you for that. All right. JetBlue has a rather chilling report that's come out over JFK Airport. Basically, they said, we hit a drone. As drones become more and more popular, more and more affordable, thought that occurs to a lot of people is, are they a threat to air traffic? Now, I have a drone. I barely used it because it's a very cheap one. It's difficult to fly. But the whole thing is about that big, very small. Has a great camera. It's just that it flies wherever it wants to. I can't control it. Anyway, that little tiny thing against a jetliner, I would think it would be even less than having a bird strike. So anyway, a lot of recreational drones. First of all, they can't even get high enough to where airliner traffic is, interfering with some kind of a commercial jet path. When they're taking off and landing, though, that is indeed a point where these big jets are vulnerable. So that kind of an issue came true on Monday. JFK Airport, a pilot on a JetBlue flight arriving from LA reported they had smacked into a drone when they were at about 3,000 feet. Thankfully, the flight was able to land safely, no injuries. Reminds us, though, that events like this could be more serious. I mean, no doubt about it. Some of these drones are pretty big and they can get pretty high. The drone struck just above the cockpit, according to the pilot. But what if it had smacked right into the window? This rather impressively calm pilot revealed the collision, as it were, in this recording of the actual pilot talking to the tower.
Hello, Tower. JetBlue 948 is just past the salt for runway 13 left.
JetBlue 948, Kennedy Tower, runway 13 left, clear to land.
We are clear to land. 13 left. Just quickly, I couldn't talk to approach, but we collided with a drone back there in the turn as we're coming to a salt. Just wanted to pass that to you.
You said you collided?
Yep, it hit us right above the cockpit.
All right, so it's about like what, 2 miles back at,
Yep.
At 3,000 feet you were at?
Affirmative. Go ahead and back it up about 10 to 12 miles back at 3,000 feet.
Wow.
Delta 948, do you require any assistance? You just continue to the runway?
Affirmative. We don't need any assistance. We're just going to go ahead and land.
That's kind of scary. That incident comes just a week after a flight landed in Newark Airport and almost had their own collision. They get, by the way, the Federal Aviation Administration gets more than 100 drone sighting reports near airports every month. First of all, what the hell is wrong with you people flying drones around airports? Are you stupid? Wait, don't answer that. I'll answer it for you. Yes, you are. You're looking at fines. You're looking at criminal charges. You're looking at possible jail time. Now, I know we live in a system where you're never going to go to jail the first time, but it is possible. Not likely, but possible. And this came after a United Airlines Boeing 737 with 106 passengers on board, 5 crew members from Key West, Florida, where I used to live, came within feet of a drone during its descent at New Jersey on Friday afternoon. I didn't realize they could fly 737s out of Key West Airport. It is a little teeny tiny postage stamp airport, folks. Anyway, pilots heard in air traffic control, we almost hit a drone. Unbelievable. The FAA has come out with this statement. The pilot of JetBlue Airlines Flight 948 reportedly struck a drone at approximately 3,000 feet while on final approach to JFK around 7:15 a.m. local time Monday. A post-flight inspection did not reveal any damage to the aircraft. The FAA is going to investigate. Contact the airline for more information. It's these idiots who are out there flying these things around airports. What is wrong with you? Stop doing that. Maybe that's what we need to do. Just like in the first story, we're talking about the Democrats who are acting like absolute little brat children. Maybe we need to start treating these people like these drone operators, like bratty ass little children. Here we have a punishment called, what is it called? You get hit with a rattan. Lashing? I think it's lashing. It's horrible. It's an absolute terrible, inhumane kind of punishment. But we still have it, and it's still meted out on occasion. But you know what? I'm starting to think with some of these people, because that's what would give a little bratty ass 8-year-old snot-nosed kid a good lesson. I told you the story about me and my bow and arrow with my dad giving me a beating on my ass with the broken bow that he broke. I've told you that story at least 2 or 3 times. I'll tell it again one day. Anyway, it occurs to me that some of these people might learn a lesson finally, if that was their punishment. Stupid. What a world, but hey, that's what keeps this show going. The fraud investigations continue to roll through Minnesota, and good old Mayor Fry. Well, he had a few words for the Somalis. He said, "We see you as family." Yeah. Most Americans' introduction to this scumball mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, was back during the death of drug addict George Floyd, criminal. He cried and knelt. He pandered to the Black Lives Matter people in every possible way because he would not defund the police. Well, His Honor, Fry, is still around, and he's still pandering. This time, who's he pandering to? The Somali community in Minneapolis. Saturday, he spoke to Minneapolis' large Somali community at a Somali Independence Day celebration. Oh, how nice. He said, "Through the most difficult of times in Operation Metro Surge, we all saw that they tried to come for some of us. And when that happens, we say that you're coming for all of us. In Minneapolis, we love our neighbors. In Minneapolis, we do not see you as immigrants. We see you as family. You're our brothers, you're our sisters. You've done so much for this incredible city, and for that, we stand with you. Really, Mayor Fry? You want to go there? Okay. His reference to Operation Metro Surge was in relation to the ICE operations that ended in February, in which Border Czar Tom Homan said it resulted in more than 4,000 people being arrested in Minneapolis, St. Paul, reducing what he characterized as public safety threats. Fry also stated at the event, listen to this, he said, "Here in Minnesota, home to one of the largest Somali communities in the U.S., we celebrate the resilience, culture, and leadership that continue to enrich our city and our community." Ain't that nice, Fry? While he celebrates the Somali community in Minneapolis, the GOP led House Oversight Committee's investigation into absolute rampant, blatant fraud in Minnesota's social service programs, in which their governor, Tim Walz's administration, knew what was happening, failed to act on anything. And that committee has reported over 110 people, many of them identified as a member of the Somali community, have been charged with fraud schemes in Minnesota. Thursday last week, one of the ringleaders of the massive Feeding Our Futures fraud schemes, Abdikerm Adi, whatever, who cares? He was arrested in Mogadishu, Somalia, after being on the run from U.S. authorities for years. This absolute crap fry pandering to the Somali community, annoying as it is, has another very vital purpose. This is an election year, remember? Fry's been doing his part to help protect those precious Somali votes, Somali Democrat votes. Because of the committee's report, Minnesota voters now know that the Walz administration was not so much concerned about law enforcement, more concerned about possible legal action and accusations of racism for failing to let the fraud continue. Walz and the people in his admin have disputed the committee's findings. Of course they did. Like some little 8-year-old who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. 2026 midterm elections are getting very close, folks. You can expect to see moron idiots like Jacob Fry dancing and singing and taking part in the Somali culinary delicacies more and more. Because that, after all, is just a little fraud. What's a little fraud among family members? What an absolute tool. Unbelievable. Here's a story out of London, and again, we don't cover these unless they're either that big of a story or one that might affect us here in the States. This one is, I'm afraid, a little bit of both. Police believe there are 4,000 sex exploitation gang cases in London. The Metro Police in London have found evidence suggesting there are thousands of child exploitation gangs or offenders in London. Reportedly, majority Muslim now, tallies with most people's experience if you've been there. But even if that's an exaggeration, obvious the UK has a very serious problem with Islamic rape gangs. Just in London, there are up to 4,000 grooming gangs that automatically authorities have just tried to cover it up, closed an eye. Member of Parliament Rupert Lowe released the bombshell report on grooming gangs that identified 250,000 British girls and women as victims. You remember this? We covered this story. Indicated between 87 and 95% of such sexual criminals are Muslim men. In other words, the mass child exploitation and the rape gang crisis in England is almost entirely a result of the mass migration from Muslim-majority nations. Up to 95%. That's pretty much everybody. According to GB News, Idiot Khan there previously and emphatically asserted there was no evidence that grooming gangs were operating in London. Well, Scotland Yard's new findings indicate exactly how false that was. Sadiq Khan facing fresh secure scrutiny under his previous claims about grooming gangs. The Met Police identified 4,000 potential child sexual exploitation cases that now should and could be reopened. 1 in 3 cases of 12,000 are now flagged for potential reinvestigation after police or the Crown Prosecution Service previously decided to take no further action. Great Britain, my friends, has become or is well on its way to becoming a Sharia state. A lot of the British people very opposed to that. They're awake to the danger. The folks in Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, they're not putting up with it. The folks in England, kind of a meh attitude. You're going to wake up to a horrible nightmare that you're going to wish you had done something about. A lot of the British people opposed to it, but unfortunately, like in states right here in the U.S., the communists in charge of the government, they're going to take any tyrannical measure to make sure they never, ever lose power. It's even more difficult to change leadership in a country that has a parliamentary system like they have in Britain, which is a nightmare. The UK absolutely held completely captive, thanks to suicidal woke idiots and fundamentalist Muslims. And it is a shame to see that once great empire come tumbling down like that. Maryland, just thinking, was that around the time he moved? I'm not sure. No, I've lived in this location for at least 3 or 4 years. So, okay, I gotta cover this because I said I was going to do it yesterday, and I didn't have time. We ran out of time, so I want to get it in here under the wire. The new 6G AI glasses, which makes us all basically a walking camera. This is amazing and scary as hell. Almost every one of us carries this around constantly. And on the front, right there, and on the back, right there, you know what that is. It's a camera. Everywhere we go. This device, which a few years ago would have been an object of disbelief, something you'd see on Star Trek. Okay, not a few years, but at least a decade, maybe 2 at the most. These things not only let us talk to each other, but they do face-to-face time on video, play music, take pictures, take videos. tell us where we are, tell us how to get where we're going, and you name it, this little machine can do that. Well, now, according to one source, we might be able to take another leap forward. But do we want to? The next era, listen up, of mobile technology is going to turn everyday Americans into walking cameras. AI powered smart glasses that monitor virtually everything you see and everything you hear, according to Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon. During an appearance on Mornings with Maria, she describes a future in which ultra-fast 6G networks will allow smart glasses to stream information to AI models in real time. The shift could reshape the technology industry and, I'm afraid, reshape your everyday life if you let it. Scary. Sounds interesting, but man, we could get lost in this kind of technology really fast. You think the government is not going to have their little slimy finger hooks into this stuff? Oh, they're at the front of the line, folks. If you think otherwise, you're living on another planet. As we start to interact with computers the way we interact with ourselves or each other's, glasses are very important real estate because it's very close to our eyes, our ears, our mouth. And AI is going to see absolutely everything you see, you hear, what you say. It's going to read what we read. And it's going to have a hold of this technology and intelligence very, very quickly. Meta, idiots. Google, Apple, they have all invested in developing their own smart glasses. Newer models incorporating AI. Meta announced a new line of lower cost AI glasses powered by their technology, Muse Spark. So this has the potential to become affordable by everybody. As you might have suspected, I got a few questions, okay? First, there is a huge difference between glasses and a cell phone, which, if you're like me, you carry in your pocket. Smartphone, you've got to actually open up the app, you got to point it at something and actually make an effort. If you simply have a pair of glasses on, you're wearing them around your head day in, day out, and they're constantly sucking up all this information. Which brings me to my second question. Who, besides the user, can see this data that it generates? Well, I think I've pretty much already answered that question. You know who's at the front of that line. Who gets to see everywhere you go, everything you do while wearing these things? There are already privacy concerns with smartphones, which is the main reason you keep yours in your pocket, not laying out on a desk. I at least will lay it face down when I'm not using it, or camera side down. But exactly what kind of security has been or will be in place for these glasses? Nobody's talking about it. Nobody. And how hard will it be to hack into them? Here's the thing about technology. It doesn't often go backwards. Like an automobile, an airplane, the internet, AI, virtual reality. Sorry, folks, if you think otherwise, but that genie is out of the bottle. And it ain't going back in. It's like toothpaste. The key to managing it is going to be keeping an eye on it, prudence, and those are things that we are severely lacking in this day and age. But you better be aware it's out there. It's watching, it's recording, and it's sending all of it up into AI models who are at the very least storing it, at the very worst putting it together in some algorithm that is going to further control your life in a way you may not want it to. Karen says we're incorporating AI software at my company, 2 different agents at the same time. Wow, fun stuff. My goodness. Hey, I use AI. I use it almost every day for my main work. And I make no bones about that. I absolutely do. But how we use it, how we let it into our life, and what we give it access to, mm, that's something we just have got to keep an eye on it. We've got to keep an eye on it. All right, one more before we go. The Masters of the Universe is a rather fun throwback. This is a weird one, though. It takes us to a time when the good guys were good, and conversely, the bad guys were bad. Besides its anti woke themes, Master of the Universe is one of the very few modern movies that actually seems to be having fun, which is a part of the reason I think we go to films. I mean, unless you're going to horror films, you're going to get scared. But, a lot of times you go to the movies because you want an escape, you want a little fun. But Masters of the Universe actually seems to understand exactly what kind of a movie it is, and it absolutely embraces it. Now, given how far to the left Hollywood is now, and faithful adaptation of He-Man, powerful, competent, good, that would be impossible. You can't do He-Man, of course. It just in the title itself would have all the lefties clutching pearls. Prince Adam, you'd think, would be given the same treatment like Luke Skywalker and Indiana Jones, Captain Kirk, James Bond have gotten. And if you saw the marketing for Masters of the Universe, you probably thought it was the path that Amazon and MGM were chosen. Director Travis Knight's assertion that Skeletor, love Skeletor, was an example of toxic masculinity. And other asinine comments made it seem like Amazon and MGM were not only interested in seeing how many humiliation rituals they could put He-Man through, but same as Kevin Smith did with his horrendous Masters of the Universe Revelation Netflix series. I don't know if you saw that. Don't bother. Probably part of the reason why Masters of the Universe is a box office disaster. As of this moment, it's made 54 million worldwide, 54 million on a $200 million budget. That ain't good. People naturally assumed it was more of what Hollywood's been serving up. Fortunately, the left hand obviously did not know what the right hand was doing, since the marketing has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the reality. Upon returning to his home on the magical planet of Eternia, after witnessing its destruction, spending 15 years in exile, Prince Adam turns to his childhood friend and asks, "Why would Skeletor do this?" "Well, because he's a bad guy," she says. "Has to be more to it than that," Adam protests. "He has a skull for a face," Tila says. That, in a nutshell, is one of the reasons why Amazon and MGM's Master of the Universe is frankly so good. One of the best films to come out of Hollywood and that sludge machine in many, many years. It is a big screen adaptation of the classic cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, cartoon made primarily to sell Mattel's Master of the Universe toys. Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, all started life as a glorified toy commercial. From 83 to 85, He-Man sold Mattel's toys 5 days a week by defending the secrets of Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor. You remember those days? Interdimensional demon who coveted the power of He-Man. The show is absolutely silly. It is simple. It is not technically impressive, especially when you put it beside the likes of, say, Batman, the animated series, or Fox's X-Men. It's also very sincere and extremely heroic. Throwback even in the 80s, an echo of Flash Gordon, Superman's original incarnation. He-Man was the most powerful man in the universe, able to lift and toss mountains and cities. Oh yeah, he was just that powerful. He was also unequivocally, incorruptibly good. He was a good guy. Power and goodness intertwined. He-Man could not be as good as he was without the power, and he could not be as powerful as he was without the goodness. That's just the way it is. He was, in a lot of respects, the old idea of chivalry, dressed in barbarian skins for Gen Xers. Adams finds the sword, gives it back to Eterna. The indictment doesn't end as Earth recedes in the rearview mirror. Adam, even after seeing the destruction Skeletor has wreaked on his home, still in HR mindset, tries to dialogue with the monsters, tries to call seminars so that differences can be resolved. He doesn't think ripping off the mechanical arm of Trapjaw is something to celebrate. The great contrast between He-Man and Skeletor. The hero is only as good as his villain. If you're a writer, especially a screenwriter, you know that. Jared Leto and the writers delivered this in spades. Skeletor is not sympathetic in any way. He's not misunderstood. He doesn't have a tragic backstory. As he says, he's the villain, and it feels good to be evil. And like most evil people, he's paranoid. He understands the power he has can be lost, it can be stolen, it can be taken away. He needs the power of Grayskull so that he can oppress and destroy and kill without fear there will ever be any retribution. Tyranny, power used selfishly. That's what Skeletor is all about. And He-Man is authority, justice, power used justly. Masters of the Universe, not perfect in any way. Some of the action sequences come off kind of flat. Emotional beats handed out a little way too quickly. Some of the jokes don't land really, but check it out. If it's running in your town, in your theaters, check it out. It is fun. It's a popcorn summer movie, and it actually loves masculine heroism. And there ain't nothing wrong with He-Man. I love it. Hey, we're done. Thank you, folks. Tuesday morning's show is in the bag. We will be back again tomorrow for a Wednesday edition. Please, if you haven't done that already, hit the follow or subscribe button. We're live right now on YouTube and on Rumble. And YouTube says subscribe, Rumble says follow. Same thing, free, cost nothing. If you can, you'd like to make a donation to keeping the lights on, keeping the show going, you can do that down there in our description. It's a PayPal link for the show. And also, of course, all of our great sponsors, Patriot Mobile, Blackout Coffee, Ground News. They're all down there. Check them out. Get some great deals. I'll see you again tomorrow.